Hello and welcome to Always with Awareness. I'm Awa Loudmouth.
And I'm Douglas Loudmouth. And today, well, you tell them, what are we gonna be talking about?
We're gonna talk about nitpicking words that you definitely, let's say you're talking to somebody and you know damn well what they're talking about. And yet you hang on to the words they're saying. Just to use that to show some resentment.
We all know this one, right?
I think so.
We've all done it. We've all
done
gone, well, you said, full moon and it was technically 98% full. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, using your sharp intellect to try to undercut what you know what's really being talked about.
I know.
This is going on in politics today. We're doing all of this nitpicking over words, and everybody knows what the hell we're really talking about. But everybody wants to talk about the words and the words and the words, and just like let's get caught up on the words. Let's take the words to the Supreme Court, and let's just let's get a ruling on the words. It's just like well, it depends on what the meaning of this is. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's very sad when we give it a meaning, and you cannot give it one meaning that means the same to everybody, but there is something more than the words that come out of somebody's mouth. I think the intention, the connection, the relationship you have with the person, all of that, you have to take it into account before you can hear or even answer. And we're talking about it because I am from a family of 13, and I was raised by my dear aunt who is deaf and mute. So growing up with somebody like that, I didn't know that he had touched me in a way that I almost speak another language.
Yeah.
Which I call the language of love, and that I know we all have. It was a gift to her name is Yasin. I salute her. And you just don't know how speaking with somebody who can't hear you, can't talk back, that you have had another skill growing up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
To the point where even watching these shows back, I laugh at myself listening to it. So I do understand for the nitpicking brain how much it doesn't make sense at all.
Well, I mean, we don't get the genders correct. We don't get the words correct. So much of what we're saying, you kind of, know what we mean, all right?
Yeah.
Quit nitpicking.
I had a friend in my house the other day, and I was with my sister who came to visit from Paris, and another sister that came to visit from Senegal. Okay, for the nitpicking brain, one sister is my real sister, my blood sister, whatever you wanted before I called it sister. For the other one that is from Paris, if I call her sister, everybody's saying, oh, well.
But from your mother, from your father.
From your mother, from your father. So I'm like, now I have to go through the stories of how she became my sister. She knew me since age 2. She was the best friend of my older sister. They went to school. Just to say, what is it about us that just can't hear sister, mother, brother as somebody I care for?
Yeah.
As simple as that. I would not have that question if I was back home, but I want to have this conversation with you because most people will be nitpicking to the point of...
Nitpicking or nitpicking? Which one was it?
Yeah, exactly. Nitpicking to the point of losing a message or passing an opportunity to connect or to celebrate. Instead, what do? We hold on, hang on to the words.
Yeah.
So this episode is for you know who you are.
Which is all of us. And your nitpicky brain, which we
all
all have.
We all have to pay attention. There's something more than words here. Mm-hmm. And somebody can say a word that for you means something, but in the deep down, his intention was not.
Yeah.
And lined with the words, so you don't know. I would go for more than just the words. And that's what we teach our kids. How do you know? Kids use that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
When they want to get out of something.
Oh, yeah. Well, you said wash the car. You didn't say wash the cars.
Or you say do the dishes. You didn't say do the kitchen. And
Right.
I have to dial it back and say, okay, where are the dishes in the kitchen? Why we have to clean the kitchen also is because if the dishes are clean, but the kitchen is still dirty, it's still looking dirty all over. So it's just that brain,
Yeah.
again, that can see the whole picture.
Well, it's just the ego. The ego. So the Course in Miracles defines the ego as this very brilliant machine inside of our head that is just as logical as God, but just starts from the wrong premise. And so the challenge for all of us is that we have this very smart computer that feels like a personality in our heads that many of us identify as us. So step one, disidentify with the thinking that you have as you. Start seeing it as not you, and then go, oh, wait, not me, but kind of a crazy version of me. And see that brain is the one that is nitpicking you out of your happiness, out of your joy. You're being nitpicked right out of it by yourself. It's insanity. It is the definition of insanity. So stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. Create another story around what it means when your brain says, oh, nitpick that.
Yeah.
You know, and we see it, it's a presidential year. We see it in the politics. I mean, it's just insanity. It's insanity, the nitpicking that's going on all sides. This is on all sides, and it's the human brain that's nitpicking their way through this whole thing. And it's not serving any of us. We're not together on it. And one thing I notice about you is you're always just focusing on, did it connect me or did it disconnect me?
Oh, absolutely. That's the only thing there is. You know, I mean, we just have to dial it back to why you even having a conversation with somebody.
Right.
If it's just to stay disengaged at the end of it and disconnected, don't even start it then.
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point? But if you're thinking that they can add to your life in a way, when I say add, this is not add, but inspire. I mean, inspire your curiosity to even want to go deeper within yourself of what you know, what you don't know, what you would like to know, what you wouldn't want to know, because that's all we're talking about. Everybody's giving you an angle of where you're at and showing you where you want to be, how to get there. Because you can't get there by nitpicking every word that anybody says and use it to disconnect or to slow down their thinking so that you can show how stupid they are or how, I mean, it's just irrelevant. You know, I always share, and I'm like, guys, English is my third language. I learned it when I was already an adult. I speak 4 of them. But you are nitpicked by the one that have one language, barely
can speak it.
You know, it's just like
Can't write it anymore at all.
Let's drop that. I almost feel like, wow, how peaceful it was to talk with my aunt that is deaf and mute.
Well, because you could only focus on the essence. You couldn't nitpick anything. It's like, what is she trying to say to me?
Honey,
dinner is ready.
I swear, I dedicate this video for her, for being in my life, for making me know that there is more to words. that there is body language, that there is intention, that there is face movements, that there is, at some point I went to learn in Florida sign languages. You know what? I don't like it because I feel like we have all the language to talk with anybody. Again, we want to put them in the block that they can't talk to everybody, only the one that learned how to have sign language. No, because I can talk to anybody. They don't need to talk. They don't even need to hear. There is really this language that if we all silence, we can be in touch with it. And it's the language of kindness. It's the language of being part of something bigger than the diarrhea happening in your brain. Of what did you really mean? Is it your aunt? Is it not your aunt? Is it your sister? Is it not your sister? Oh my God, I'm confused. How many you are? Who cares? So, I don't know. Maybe that's a show that doesn't interest most because they think that that's the only way we could understand each other is to have the same words meaning the same thing for everybody. Go for it. It will never be. Too many languages and people coming from different backgrounds and rich backgrounds, every one of us. So just sharing for people to be more open-hearted.
Forgiving.
More just open-hearted. There's nothing to forgive. Just
There's
more
nothing to forgive. Yeah.
more open-hearted. When you're having a conversation with somebody that you think is different than you, you're the only one thinking that, by the way. They're not, but you are. Thinking that, oh, well, maybe because they're from Africa, they're different. Or, well, because they're woman, they're different. Or, well, because they're different color skin, they're different. None of it. You just like the black horse, the paint horse, the brown horse. Same.
Horses.
Horses.
Horses don't look at each other and go, oh, I don't like that paint horse. If they don't like the paint horse, it's because of the attitude.
Yeah.
And they don't like each other all the time. But believe me, it has nothing to do with their color.
Let's learn from the animals that are teaching us all the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, just to share how we can use this beautiful thing, don't get me wrong, that is language, and turn it around and mess it up. Yeah. Even, for some people to just think that they're not speaking it right. There's no such thing as speaking it right, by the way. Right by who? Right by who? Go to Somalia and find somebody there and say, oh, no, you're not speaking it right. You should doing it this word. What? So, and for the people that come outside of America, they're speaking the English the way they feel it, and yet they're having amazing lives with 4, 5, 10 languages. Maybe you gotta just be more open-minded and see what they have for you and what you have for them.
Right.
That aunt doesn't mean, or sister doesn't mean always blood related. Mm-hmm. How do I know? It never meant that from the beginning of time. God referred to us as you, brothers and sisters. Mm-hmm. He never say you, your brother from your mom blood.
Well,
anyway.
It's this nitpickiness. It's just the ego loves to just nitpick and run down the rabbit hole and try to back end your whole thinking and your philosophy. And believe me, the ego, you just give it a subject and it's going to do a great job of just running around with that subject. That subject could be how to get rid of the ego. The ego itself will go, oh, awesome. I will help you with that. It's like the most friendly AI you've ever met. Oh, great. Let's go. And it will run you around on how to get rid of itself. And it has one mantra: seek, but do not find. That's the mantra of the ego. So whatever you set it to, it'll solve problems. It will solve problems that you want solved, and it's very useful. But if you want to solve the ultimate problem of actually removing it, it will seek and never find the solution, but it will seek a whole life. And that's where you get all of these theologians and people that are nitpicking their scripture and their books and their commentary from the person before who was nitpicking it before, and all throughout history trying to dial in. It's the ego's seek but do not find. Where are you going to find the answer? It's right there in those eyes.
Well,
Another human being.
You've said something as just amazing, nitpicking. Anytime you're doing it, you're saying, searching, but not wanting to find. Because really, you just refusing to feel the energy. Brother means somebody you care for, somebody you admire, somebody that looks like you.
Somebody you feel fraternal to.
Exactly.
And I can tell you, I feel fraternal to everybody that I let myself feel fraternal to.
Exactly.
I do.
Yeah.
Every single brother and sister.
Yeah.
If I let myself, you're all my brothers and you are all my sisters. Every one of you.
I remember one comment in one of our previous shows. This lady said, "You are so blessed to see it like that. And that is just part of your culture." And let's say something about culture. Culture was designed by us, and hoping, praying that it works. If you meet somebody from a different culture and they have something that they can add to your life that might change the way your own life can be opening up to bigger, better, feeling more joy and more connection, adopt it. It's your culture too. You don't need to sign adoption papers. You don't need to go to court. Embrace it. It's yours. But this whole nitpicking again, the same brain, will say, "Oh, well, it's their culture, it's not mine. Let me go back to my small self." Whatever is human is all of us. So if what we just shared today had made you see like, wow, I do that a lot. I really miss embracing my next door neighbor because I think that I can't even understand what she's saying. The words that she uses, her accent, I can't understand. Take the time. Really, you're missing out. Because you know what? You never know. Like I said, in the previous show we had, burying my neighbor yesterday was not planned, not by her or by me. And how did we know each other? In the elevator. She could not, in billion years, think that myself, another friend, and her mother will be the one putting her in her grave with her husband. So you don't know. Embrace people for who they are and stop the nitpicking. Please. There is something to be said about words, yes, but there is something to be said about even bigger, which is connection. Wanting, choosing to hear for the sake of wanting to be part of. Not disconnected, not looking at the words. Do I want to be part of the moment I'm living right now? How do I know that should be your goal? It's like there is no other moment but that one. The one you're designing in your head is an illusion that you are not living, will never live. This one, with this person that is from a different culture, saying words you don't understand, is the one you're living right now. So this thing that we call consciousness, that people think that is for the people that live up in the mountains with the big long beard and God had come up to them, might be. But I think, just like the word said, to be conscious. Are you present? Are you where your feet are? Is your mind, your body, your spirit, everything is right here, right now? If it is, there is no words needed to be said. Definitely not words needed to be translated, because it's very simple. Believe me. How do you know? When somebody is saying something that rings the bell within you, your head does this. If you're watching it and doing this, even if you're thinking no, your body is agreeing.
So true.
That's simple. I mean, even if you wanted to do this, you can't. So there is just like a truth that is installed in every one of us, where we keep on just not wanting to hear it. So that was our show about being present and not nitpicking.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's self-evident if you think about it. And if you don't let your nitpicky brain pick apart the arguments, then it's obvious that if you want to connect with somebody, don't sit there, because nitpicking is judging. It's slicing and dicing, meanings, and it doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't help and support you, and it doesn't connect you to them. And so your goal must not be to connect. And that's the world you're living in. Everybody else is wrong. You've nitpicked all their arguments perfectly, and you're living in a very small world alone. That's not fun. Don't choose that. Choose to be in this world with all of us, and drop the nitpicky, drop the judgment, drop all of the things that disconnect us. I mean, we live in an area where there's a lot of strong political feelings on both sides.
Yeah.
And we run into people all the time that have clear ideas about what they believe is so right and wrong. And we always just drop it and just connect with them on what we can connect with them. The last thing I want to do is argue about somebody's politics. That's, to me, the definition of insanity.
That's right.
Because
really, it doesn't say anything about who they are. It might in the moment, but believe me, if
you're going to influence a world of connection, then you have to connect. Yeah. You can't talk about how they're not connecting. Yeah. So if you want to nitpick and argue how they're not connecting because they're racist and they're prejudiced and their candidate is this or that, or represents this or that, well, then you're just not connecting. You're just putting up a bigger wall between you. If you just connect with them, then you've accomplished something.
That's right.
Yeah.
So be open-minded. I think we said it all.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could nitpick this a little bit more if you want. I mean, we could get into some more details and try to drill down a little bit.
Drill down a little bit.
Yeah, we can try to get really, define it more clearly. I mean, I don't know.
The older I get, the more I get to what Einstein said. If you cannot explain it to a 5-year-old and they get it, then it's yourself, you didn't understand it. So...
Somebody's going to nitpick on that one and be like, well, what he actually said was... Please, you feel free to do it in the comments, and then we'll say it the right way next time.
It's just, what is the right way? People would say, yeah, you come somewhere, you have to learn their language to language. We're using it, I think, really for the wrong things. The difficult language is maybe for understanding something difficult. Mm-hmm. But in the day-to-day life, when you have it simple, everybody should be able to understand you. Mm-hmm. And calling somebody a brother, it just means how much you care for them. Yeah. So if you are seeing yourself in this, I think this is an opportunity to just understand that sometimes it's not because the person doesn't know the words that they should be using for a particular time. It's just they don't care about the words.
They just don't care.
And why they don't care? Because they're into their feelings. Mm. They feel more than they want to use the right words, So that was my intake about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you.
I think it was great.
All right.
Yeah. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. This is for us. I don't know. I think it's getting more fun because we're just talking about what we always talk about anyway, and yet we're doing it with you, and we like you. We want you to be around. We want you to be around us. We want to be around you. So thanks for joining us.
Thank
and
you.
We'll see you next time.
All right. That was fun.